Hey everyone, welcome back. The new M2 MacBook Pros have finally arrived, and on the face of it, they look like a solid improvement in every way over the 2021 models. They've got better graphics, longer battery life, and faster connectivity. In this video, I'm going to take you through everything from the design to the key features, as well as the unboxing, which, if you're really astute, you might have noticed has already happened. But I also want to talk about a couple of things that might make you think twice about getting one of these, so make sure you stick around until the end for that. Starting off with the options, the new MacBook Pro comes in the same two colours, space grey and silver, as well as the same two sizes, 14 and 16 inches. The base model 14 inch costs $2,000 and the base model 16 inch starts at $2,500, which again is the same as Apple's M1 models at launch. Both those base models feature Apple's new M2 Pro processor, which Apple claims is anywhere from 20 to 40% faster, depending on which task you're doing. In fact, Apple reports a 20% CPU increase and a 30% GPU increase versus the M1 models. But then of course you've also got the M2 MAX chips for even more power, which again mirrors the update we had last time. And these are configurable in either a 30-core GPU or a 38-core GPU in both sizes. Aside from the processor, you'll also have the option to customize your memory up to 96GB this time, which is huge if you go for the M2 MAX, as well as storage options ranging from 512GB all the way up to 8TB. In terms of design, there's really no visible differences this year apart from the MagSafe connector, with the only difference this time being the color of the connector now matches the color of your laptop. Aside from that, all the ports have stayed pretty much the same, with a minor upgrade to the speed of the card reader, as well as the HDMI port, which now supports HDMI 2.1, which allows for resolutions up to 8K or faster frame rates of 120 FPS. For the M2 Max, this means you can now connect up to 4 external monitors. Needless to say, if you weren't really aware of this, then you probably didn't need it anyway. These new 2023 models now support Bluetooth 5.3 as well, and more importantly, we now finally have Wi-Fi 6E, which is great to see. For those that don't know, the main difference between Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 6E is speed. Wi-Fi 6E allows for 7 added channels that essentially double throughput. I don't have a Wi-Fi 6E router, unfortunately, so I couldn't test this directly, but some early reports online are saying that the transfer rates are more than twice as fast as the M1. If you're the kind of person that is really into AR, VR, or 8K streaming, then you'll be psyched to hear this. If not, then not a lot has changed for you. The other final thing to say is that the overall battery life seems to have had a minor improvement as well, with Apple touting a 1-hour improvement of battery. So with those updates in mind, that represents a bit of a problem for Apple. Because is it really worth spending that amount of money on an M2 laptop when they are only marginally better than the M1s? To put that into perspective, take a look at last week's earnings report for Apple, where they announced their largest revenue decline since 2016. What's most interesting though is that the decline in Mac revenue was huge. It dropped by 28% since last year alone. And if you compare that to iPhone revenue, which only declined by 8%, and services revenue, which increased by 6.4% since last year, that's a big deal. In short, people just aren't upgrading their laptops as often as they used to. And nowadays, you need a pretty compelling reason to part with your cash. Just have a look at how much the M1s are now discounted on third-party retailers and within Apple's own refurbished store. In some instances, you can save $500 or more on a comparable product that for most people just simply won't notice the performance gains. And on top of that, there are some initial teardowns being done by people claiming that the heatsink on the M2 MacBook Pros is smaller this year due to supply chain issues, which could mean it runs ever so slightly hotter than the M1s when firing at full pelt. And based on some initial tests that people have been running, the smaller SSDs in M2 MacBooks might be running slower than certain M1s. To what extent these things are true or not is something we'll just have to wait for more detail on over time. But it definitely doesn't help, and it's going to be really hard to ask people to spend more to get these over M1 MacBooks. So yeah, in summary, it's not looking good for sales of the M2. While I love these new MacBook Pros and think they're incredible machines, there's really no massive upgrades apart from Wi-Fi, HDMI or Bluetooth, and for most people, these really aren't worth spending hundreds of dollars more on. All in all, I guess my advice would be to save yourself a couple of bucks and go and find yourself some huge savings on an M1, because well, they are still insanely fast machines, and you probably won't notice the difference. And with that, I'll say goodbye. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts as usual in the comments below, and remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.